Hi friends, it's Maud here again, and I'm excited today to teach you and welcome you to your Yoga for Basketball Players. I'm really excited to teach this class because I am a huge basketball fan. I am a self-declared Laker girl since I was this small. And so with basketball, a high level of athleticism is required to really be good at it. A high level of agility, right? And focus, camaraderie, energy, and all that. And so for this class, aside from really paying attention to the breath, we're going to cater to like just from the ground up, toes, ankle strength, which is huge in basketball. Some calf stretches, leg strengthening exercises, core stabilization, some torso rotation, because that's what you do in basketball, right? You do a lot of twisting, one-legged stances, one-legged poses to mimic, the weight shifting that you guys do during the game, as well as some wrist stuff and hand stuff. Because as you know, basketball, you're always dribbling the ball and you always have this sort of clawed up position. So we're gonna counter those with some stretches. So I hope you guys are excited as I am. For props, I would recommend you grab the biggest pillow that you have. If you don't have a big pillow, then maybe combine the pillow and with a thick blanket, and you can wrap the pillow with that blanket. I also will be needing for you to grab a yoga block, and if you don't have that, just grab something where you can put your foot on top of. And other props, a blanket, a pillow, grab them if you need them, whatever it is at your disposal. And we are gonna get started here on our backs. So please grab your pillow. The way I put myself in this position is I put the pillow crosswise on the mat because we're gonna be putting our butts on top of this pillow. So I'm gonna go over here to the other side, sit your butt down, and we're gonna lay on our backs ever so gently. And as you're here, just make sure that both feet are grounded on the mat, that you feel really relaxed here. There's some length in the back of the neck. You do some adjustments that you need to do with your hips. If it's too high or too low, address them with your props. And I want you guys to place your hands on your belly as we start to pay attention to the breath right now. Make sure the fingers are spread out, but they're not over-efforting, they're not clammy. Take a moment right here. Open your mouth and just move your jaw around, sort of like chewing an imaginary chewing gum. Once you're done doing that and you have your lips together, just part your teeth behind it and relax your tongue. As you put your hands on the belly, notice the rising and falling that's happening with the breath. Let's just take a couple of moments here. Take an inhale through the nose. Open the mouth and sigh it out. Inhale in. Open the mouth and sigh it out. Inhale in. Open the mouth, sigh it out. Feel that release. In the next few moments you spend right here, you can keep breathing like that or just naturally out of the mouth, but you can also play around with exhaling out through the nose. If that's in your practice today, then just make sure that you feel some vibration in the back of the throat, which is called Ujjayi breath, which imitates almost the sound of a snore and the sounds of the ocean. Like there's just this vibration that's happening. And that's because the mouth is closed and your nose becomes the orifice where the air is going out, and the nostrils are very small. So the breath becomes sort of slow, and make it as soft as possible.
There's a 360-degree expansion in the rib cage as you inhale, just like a balloon. So it's not just about the belly going up and down or in and out. The lungs are protected by the bones of the rib cage, so feel the expansion in the lungs. And take 2 more conscious breaths like that. And slowly blink your eyes open if they were closed. Lift your arms up to the sky and just shake your arms and shake your wrists. And already getting your feet right underneath your knees. Your ankles are right underneath your knees. Your toes are pointing forward as you continue to shake the arms. Now spread your right palm towards the ceiling and let the fingers of the left hand grab each finger. So it's going to be your pointy, your middle, your ring, and then your pinkies. And then stretch the palms, stretch the fingers towards your forearms, but at the same time you squeeze your glutes, tighten your glutes, lift your hips up into a full glute bridge pose. Keep the length of the back of the neck, keep breathing here. We're sort of multitasking here, yeah. Opening up the hips, stretching the palms. 1 more breath, deep inhale. Exhale, release the hands, lower the hips, shake the arms once again. If your weight has shifted, then do the necessary adjustments on top of that bolster. This time do Iron Man hand with that left hand. I just call it Iron Man because it's just spreading the palm. Use the 4 fingers once again. Make sure the toes are pointing forward and they're hip width apart. Stretch the palms. Feel the stretch in the forearms. Send the fingers towards your shins and then squeeze and tighten your glutes and then lift your hips up. Glute bridge a second time. Two more breaths right here. Try not to hold the breath as you tighten your glutes. Keep the breath going. It's just an isometric motion, isometric action that's happening in the middle of the body. And then exhale, release the hands, release your glutes. Inhale, lift your arms overhead towards the wall behind you and just lift your heels off of the mat. Feel this contraction in your calf. Lower the heels and then lift your toes. Feel this in your ankles. Toes down, heels up. Heels down, toes up. Toes down, heels up. Heels down, toes up. Just do that about 5 or 6 more times. And you don't have to wait for me to tell you when to do it. Just make sure that it's a good enough pace that you really do feel the sensation that's happening in your ankles. Also spreading the bottoms of the feet every time you lift your toes up. About 2 or 3 more times. As you lift up, feel your chest open, but send your rib cage in. But that's second priority. Our focus right now is happening in the feet. Perhaps do 1 more for good measure. And beautiful. Keep your arms where they are. Just keep the length in your arms. Slowly tighten the glutes and then lift your hips up. We've been here before. Point your tailbone towards the back of the knees. And then lift your right leg up towards the ceiling, or you can keep the right leg bent, whichever is convenient for you or comfortable for you. And then lift your left heel off the floor. Drop the left heel, lift the toe. We've just been here. Do that 4, 5, or 6 more times. Try not to hold the breath as you're lifting your booty up towards the sky and away from that bolster. There's some strengthening happening in that long leg, if you have it long. If you have it bent, that's fine. 1 more time. Toes up, toes down, heels up. And then lower everything. Send the knees towards the chest. Find a nice rock left and right. And if this is your first time to do yoga, we don't only stretch. There's some strengthening that's happening as well, twisting and turning and addressing all these sensations in the body. But we always use the breath as the leader and the commander. Slowly place the feet down. Make your adjustments with your prop. Lift the arms up. You can press the palms or the backs of the palms down towards your mat. Feet are hip width apart. Squeeze your glutes, lift your hips up before you lift your left leg up towards the ceiling. Now you can keep a baby bend on this left knee, by the way, or you can keep it absolutely bent. But we're going to lift it up. And then pay attention to your right toes and your right heel. Lifting one at a time, squeezing that glute. Ay, 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 you're just starting to feel it. Use the breath, inhaling as you lift up the toes, or whichever one, toes or the heels. You can kind of synchronize the breath with the movement. One more time, just like that. Exhale, slowly lower. Send the knees towards the chest and then separate them out and do these nice circles with the knees. Inhaling, exhaling still, never losing sight of the breath. Two more circles. And then go the opposite direction. What we're doing here, we're starting to feel some sensation in the groin. Warming it up, opening it up. Two more circles this way. And slowly plant the feet down. Lift your hips off of the bolster. Take the bolster away. You can set it aside. We're going to use it later on. And then roll into one side. And then get into hands and knees, please. So hands and knees also is called quadruped, all fours. But the wrist is right underneath your shoulders. Your knees are right underneath your hips. And so make sure there's space between the knees and that the fingers are spread right here. Tuck the toes in the back. Let's do some cat-cows here. So let's drop the belly, lift the tailbone, open the chest, and then lift your head. And as you exhale, you go the opposite direction. You round your spine, you tuck your tailbone, you concave your chest, and you drop your head. So we're articulating the spine right here, which is really good regardless of what athletic activity you're engaged in. But it's just super important to let the spine move in a way that makes sense, right? Like we flex it, we extend it, we lateral bend it, we twist it. Some of us go upside down so that it feels some decompression. Arch the spine and then inhale. Round it on an exhale. Perhaps doing one more. Beautiful. Then send the knees towards each other, which sends the inner ankles towards each other. Keep the toes tucked in the back and then walk your hands towards your knees to come into a nice ankle stretch. Now, pay attention to your toes and get them to be as close as possible as you can. Then spreading the bottoms of the feet. Now, the tendency is to dump in our lower spine. Try to see if you can keep your chest open but send your ribs back in, keeping some feeling of integration in the middle of the body. And then just send your right hand on top of your left temple. And then drop your right ear towards your right shoulder and find a nice neck stretch over on the left side. The inner ankles tend to separate because it will tend to want to dump on the outside. So try to keep the inner ankles clipped in together best you can, any amount. As far as the neck is concerned, try not to overstretch it, just enough sensation here. Inhale. And then exhale. One more breath, you can do it. Inhale. And then as you exhale, Slowly release the neck stretch. Plant the hands down back on your quadruped. Untuck the toes and pat, 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 pat them. Beautiful. We're going to give the ankles a rest a little bit. Turn your fingers towards the knees. And then slowly just make circles right here. Feeling the stretch in that wrist there. Making this circular motion. Not making it too big or too small, just enough to feel a sensation. Reverse the direction if you haven't already. Keep the breath going. 2 more just like this. Beautiful. And then slowly come into the default with the palms down, and then turn your right palm up. Make sure that the creases of the wrist are the same, in the same line with the left wrist. So the right hand is down, the back of the palm is down. And I know, see this, I can't even straighten my arms too much. If I do, I mean, there's some sensation there. I'm just not ready to go that far today. And so just feel the stretch. A lot of people can shift forward and back with no huge sensation. I definitely feel it in my hands. So just rock forward and back and see how it feels for you. Keep the breath going. Keep the left palm spread. The sensation is in the right wrist right now. 1 more rock forward and back. Woo-wee. Slowly release, come to center. Shake that right wrist. Plant the right palm down. This time you're going to turn your left wrist up. Wrist creases are in line with the right wrist. Find this nice stretch already. This is my tighter side. And then slowly shift forward and back. And guys, no 2 people look the same doing this, right? So if how you're feeling or what you're doing, how you're looking may be different from mine or from how I'm feeling and looking and doing things, that's fine. Honor your body and honor what's happening in your body, because this is an individual experience. This is not a competition. Right now we're finding some healing in the wrist. Or so I hope. 1 more forward and back. Beautiful. Shake that left hand, left wrist. Turn your hand out so that the fingers are pointing out. And then revisit those circles that we just did before. You know, when you're playing basketball, you're always holding on to the ball. And so you're always in this sort of clawed up position. So we try to spread the palms as much as we can. Please reverse the motion. I believe we did 4 circles one way. One more circle this direction. And slowly stop at the center. Ah, nice. Grab your 2 blocks or your 2 props, whatever you have, as you come back into that ankle stretch. Same thing, the toes in the back are tucked, spreading the soles of the feet, tucking the toes and like keeping them as close to each other as you can. Just keep the blocks where they are for now. This time, left hand comes on your right temple, on top of the temple. Inhale right here. And then exhale, send your left ear towards your left shoulder. The stretch is in the right side of the neck. Be careful that you're not dumping in your lower back. You're spilling a lot of energy right here. Keep it in. Keep the breath going up and down, right? That's what we call the prana or the chi, the life force. It's kind of a term that we use in yoga, and we want to keep it fluidly going up and down without any obstructions. Feeling some sensation in the toes, I know you are. Last breath, I know you can do it. And then exhale. Beautiful, slowly release.
grab your blocks and just untuck the toes and pat them. Because now we're going to spread the opposite side of the foot. So if you have your blocks or your books, whatever it is, just place them outside your hips. Plant your palms on them. Lean back. You can kind of round your belly here. And then lift one knee at a time. When you lift the knee, this is kind of what you see, but what you feel is really in the front of that foot. So feel that stretch and just go one at a time. Again, the visible motion is the knee, but the sensation is really what's happening in the feet. One at a time. Right and left, right and left. If you can, and only if you can, if it's in the cards today, you can lean back, play around with floating the arms. There's going to be some shaking. I hope your competitiveness is not coming out here. The only reason I want you to lift your knees up and see how it is, it's just playfulness, nothing more. Perhaps one breath, or you can alternate, whatever feels good. And then exhale, slowly land the knees. Walk your blocks towards the top of the mat, just set them aside. Come back into your quadruped. Tuck the toes in the back and lift your hips up into a downward facing dog. And in downward dog, we want to make the letter A shape with your tailbone as sort of the top of that letter A, your tailbone, and you try to keep your spine as long as you can. And if you start to round your spine here, just try to bend your knees. Keep pushing the hips up towards the sky. And right now, let's just pedal one leg at a time like a bicycle. Just bend the left leg, bend the right leg. Letting the heel come as close to the mat as possible. If it's not landing, that is fine. Just keep the spine long, strengthen your shoulders, keep your head dropped so that you relax the neck. 2 more pedals right here. Beautiful. Come into a downward facing dog, into that still downward dog. You can, I said, bend the knees in order to keep your spine long. One big breath, inhale. Open your mouth, exhale. Ha. Look towards your hands. Plant your left knee down and then send your right knee outside your right hand. And your hands can be on blocks if the floor is too far. Or you can just plant your hands on the mat. And right here, just slowly shift the body left and right. Keep some activity here in the left glute to help open up the left hip. Beautiful. 2 more rocks like this. And then slowly come to center. Keep the left hand where it is. Place the right hand in the back of your neck. Spread that palm and then poke your right elbow to the right. And on an inhale, twist to the right, elbows up towards the ceiling. And then exhale like you want to tap your right elbow towards your left. Inhale, open up that elbow. These are the torso rotations I was talking about. Exhale, tap. Inhale, open up. And exhale, tap. Inhale, open. Exhale, tap. One more time. Inhale, open. Breathe, 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 breathe. And exhale, place your right hand down. Keep the right foot where it is. This time the left hand's going to be behind the head, and we're going to do the exact same thing but to the opposite direction. Poke your elbow, left elbow to the left. And then inhale, it's an open twist. Exhale, slowly tap left elbow to right. If it's not tapping, that's fine. That's just sort of a direction that you want to go, even though it's not happening. Open twist right here, about 2 or 3 more. Let's do 3. Exhale as you tap.
this exercise, this movement is really a good barometer for how tight you feel in your torso. And I'm feeling pretty tight today. And then slowly release. You can come into a lizard pose. Grab one of your blocks or one of your props. You can rest your forearms down on it. Or you can just rest your forearms down on your mat. But if that's not on your practice, then keep yourself propped up. You can feel this in the groin right here, the inside of the right thigh. Keeping your knee above your ankle, but you don't have to be too particular about the alignment here. I just want you to be in a place where you can feel some sensation on the right groin. On your last 2 breaths, peel the inner arch of the right foot off of the mat and really open up your right knee towards the right. Try not to round your shoulders too much. Open up the chest towards the mat, and palms can be together. And take your last 2 breaths right here. Inhale. Exhale. Beautiful. Slowly release. Grab the 2 blocks if you want into your half split stretch. The blocks can be on the tall side, medium, short. And then you can lift the toes off of the mat if you want. If landing the toes feels good, do that too. I'd rather have them lifted. Inhale to find length in the spine. Exhale, send your hips back, and then find your fold. Feeling the sensation here in the belly of the hamstrings, not on the insertion part right here. If you feel, ouch, right here where the hamstring meets your glute, bend the right leg. You can still send your hip back and find a nice fold, feeling it in your hamstrings. Two more breaths. Exhale it out. One more time, inhale. And then exhale. Beautiful. Slowly lift up. Walk the blocks forward if you want. Come back into your quadruped. Send the knees out. Send your toes towards each other. Rest in a child's pose. Plant your elbows down. Drop your forehead down and just rest here. Child's pose is always a good pausing point. And so if you've lost the breath in the movement, if you ever held your breath in any of those poses, child's pose is a nice pause for you to find your breath again. Two more breaths in your child's pose. Deep inhale. Let it all out. Exhale. Inhale. And then exhale. Beautiful. Slowly release from this. Come back into your downward facing dog once again. Planting your palms down. Spreading your fingers underneath those shoulders. Tuck the toes in the back. Lift your hips up and back. Opening up the backs of the legs. And we're just going to spend 3 breaths here. So whether you're pedaling in your down dog or you're just staying in your down dog, prioritize the integrity and the length of your spine more than straightening the legs. One more breath. Beautiful. Come into your quadruped. Rest your right knee down rather. And left foot is now outside of your left hand. Again, utilize the blocks if they're useful to you. Hands on the blocks or on the mat. And then slowly shift the body left and right. There's some tightening in the right glute to help open up the right hip. And always checking yourself with the breath. If you're shortening the breath, holding the breath, shallow with the breath, just Just watch that and just do the best you can. Perhaps 2 more rocks left and right. And then just leave the right hand where it is. Left hand goes behind the head. Poke your left elbow out and then inhale. Let's open up and twist to the left side. Exhale, you want to tap your left elbow towards your right, even though they don't touch. Again, it's just a guide. Believe we have 4 more to go, and if you want to do more, please do more. There's always that pause button. Doing this twist is super important because you guys rotate more than you probably realize. Let's do 2 more for good measure. Inhale as you twist up. Exhale as you want to tap down. Inhale. Exhale. Go at your own pace. Plant your left hand down. This time right hand's going to be behind the head. Let's do an open twist. Inhale, poke your elbows up to the sky. Always feels different each side. Right elbow taps the left. Exhale. 4 or 5 more. Go with your pace, and I mean it, guys. This is your practice. This is your body. Do what feels good for you. Two more for good measure. Your obliques will love you and thank you. Your entire torso will thank you. Slowly release. I think we forgot to do lizard pose on this side. And so plant your elbows down on a mat or on the block. Again, try not to round or slump your spine too much. Keep some integrity in the chest and the shoulders. Toes are pointing forward as best you can. Feel the sensation in the groin, the left inner thigh. Breathe through this process. This is a journey. So there is no end point. You're just going to have to keep breathing. Getting acquainted with your body more and more. And whenever you're ready, peel your inner arch of the left foot away from the mat. Open up the left hip and the left knee. Keeping some strength in the shoulders. Engaging the muscles underneath the armpits by the rib cage. That way you don't round your spine. Inhale. And then exhale. Beautiful. Slowly release. Grab the blocks if they were helpful the first time during those half splits. Tall side, second tall side, totally up to you. Make sure that you feel the sensation in the belly of the hamstring, but first inhale, make length, make space. Exhale, shift your left hip back and find your fold. Again, if you feel some ouchiness in the insertion, this area where the glutes and the hamstring meet, bend the left leg. We are still addressing the hamstring, even if the knee is bent. Trust me, it's still happening. Otherwise, straighten the leg, straighten your spine, lengthen your patience. Inhale. And then exhale. And then slowly release from this. Set your blocks aside. Come back into your quadruped. Tuck the toes in the back. Lift your hips up and back. One more time. Downward facing dog, please. Inhale. Exhale. At the bottom of the exhale, walk your feet towards the hands. It's at the bottom of the exhale while your belly feels a little bit empty. And then get your feet to be hip width apart. Grab elbow to elbow. Just find a nice dangle here, shifting the body left and right. Couple more breaths. Keep the knees soft. Just drop your head. Shake your head yes and no if you want, if that feels good. I just started doing it and it felt good, so do it if it feels good for you. And then slowly rise. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, hands down. Now we're going to do those one-legged poses. It's always good to be on one leg. It's just an overall good textbook exercise for strength, for waking up your core, finding your balance. And so shift your weight into your right leg. Get your hands either on prayer at the heart or hands on the hips, whichever one's comfortable for you. Inhale your left leg up. We call this stork pose. Drop your left hip down and then make sure that the knee is right in front of the hip and the ankle and the heel are right underneath the knee. Try not to lean back too much. Lengthen your tailbone down towards the mat. Wakes up some lower belly energy here. And then the next time you exhale, soften the right leg and send the left leg back into a warrior 3 pose. Now if you're wobbling, you're just falling, you can always have 2 blocks underneath you for a supported warrior. Now turn your left thigh in, so your left toes are going to point towards the mat. Try not to lock this right knee. Keep an engagement here in the right quad by softening the right knee. Like you want to shut the door behind you. So whether you're floating or you're on the blocks, we'll just do this 3 more times, 3 TikToks. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Find your pace. You don't have to keep up with me if this is too fast. Exhale, find your warrior 3, hands on hips or heart center. I'm going to shut up here in the last 2 times so you really find your focus, find your balance. Inhale, stork pose. Exhale, warrior 3. One last time. Inhale, stork. Exhale, warrior 3. When you come to center, slowly release. Hands on the lower back. Just do some nice hip circles right here. Reversing the direction. Beautiful. Now shift the weight towards your left foot. Really feeling this energy sort of inside the leg from the inner thigh all the way, the inner arches all the way to the groin. Shifting it up and then finding your balance, lifting the right leg up. Hip, ankle, knee and ankle, sort of in that 90-degree relationship. Keep your ribs in, keep the breath soft, find an area of focus. Then let's do 4 TikToks like we did. Warrior 3 on this side. Again, turn that right thigh in. You can always put your hands on the block if you want. You're making a letter T shape right here. 3 more times. Inhale. Lengthening the leg back. The left glute medius, the left leg, the standing leg, is working crazy hard in finding this balance, keeping you stable, but also find some core stability here. Use the breath. Soften the breath. Try not to hold the breath. 1 more TikTok, just like that. Soften that left knee. And then slowly come to center. Shake the legs, shake the ankles, hands in the lower back. Revisit those hip circles if they felt good. And then come here to center. This time, turn towards the white part of your mat, the long edges of your mat. And then turn your toes out and your heels in, but try not to turn them out 90 degrees, just sort of 45 degrees. And then get your feet, kind of like, I would say, 2 feet apart. Well, you guys are probably tall, so that would be longer than that. But kind of like the stance that I have right now. Hands on your hips. And we're going to do some side lunges here to wake up the groin. So bend your right leg. Send your hips back. So try not to focus on sending this knee forward. Send your right hip back, but you're bending your right leg. Feeling this in the left, inside of the left leg. Inhale, stand up, squeeze your glutes. Exhale, side lunge of the other side. Inhale, stand, tighten the glutes. Exhale, find your side lunge. Inhale, stand, tighten the glutes. Exhale, other side. Now this time we're going to stand up, turn our toes a little bit more forward. Same stance, hands on the hips. Inhale here. Exhale, bend the right leg. Really sending those hips back. Inhale up, tighten the glutes. Exhale. You kind of want your spine parallel to the ground, and even if it's not, it just keeps everything in line as you push your hips back. Inhale up, tighten the glutes. Exhale, side lunge on this side. One more time. Bend the right leg. Inhale, bend the left leg. Inhale. Beautiful. Heel toe the feet towards each other. And this is my favorite part. Grab one of your blocks or the prop that you have where you want to put your foot on top of. And then probably on the long side. You guys are probably have big feet, which is okay. Just stand your left foot, put your left foot on top of the block. And you can float your right leg up. Now float the toes, flex the ankle, and on the right foot, the right ankle, which we're actually going to strengthen, we're going to spell the word Jordan. It's basketball, Jordan. So just using your toes, we'll spell the letter J, the letter O, R. You know how to spell Jordan. We're using big letters, by the way. D, A, and N. Beautiful. If you decided to spell another word, good, it's perfect. But I hurt my ankles a lot, and I know my physical therapist taught me my ankle ABC exercises. Now this time, the right foot is on top of the block. Float the left foot off. And on the left side, you probably guessed it. What's another 6-letter word that would be good to spell? Bryant, because I'm a Kobe fan. All right, let's spell Bryant here. Now flex your toes and spell letter B, the letter R. These are good, guys. These are good rehab and prehab for your ankles. Letter N and a letter T. I should have spelled Lakers right. Plant your left foot down. Yes, we did it. Make your way down to your mat. We'll just have a nice seated position here. Crossing at the ankles. You can definitely grab one of your cushions, one of your blankets here to sit on top of. Crossing at the shins. You can actually use your bolster as well. I was intending to use the bolster, but I grabbed my blanket. That's okay. So here, just open the palms up towards the sky. Find a nice centering breath here. Ground your sit bones down, and let's take an inhale. And an exhale. Inhale in. And an exhale. One more time, just like that. Inhale. Exhale. Now let's dance with the arms. Inhale, open the arms to the side.
Look up and watch your palms connect. Exhale, hands to heart center, thumbs touch your chest. 2 more times just like that. Round the arms, open up, watch the palms connect. Exhale, hands to heart center. Last time, guys. Inhale, open up. Palms together. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take the time to bow your head towards your hands. Share a word of gratitude, a word of positive energy towards yourself. It's always good to end any class with a smile. We always want your yoga practice to be enjoyable, just like basketball. Please take the time to bow down to your practice, your inner teacher, your inner voice that told you, go and do yoga today. And I thank you guys for being in this class today. I hope you really enjoyed it. I hope it addressed all those parts and areas that I talked about. Good luck in your basketball journey. And from me to you, namaste, which means the light in me honors the light in you. Thank you so much for now. Bye and take care.